Welcome to Gutter Trash, episode 337, House of Penance, by Peter Tomasi and Ian Bertram. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jason.
Hello, Jason.
Hello, sir.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you.
Yeah, it's not exactly Halloween, but it's close enough.
It's mere hours away.
That is.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. Are you getting any big Halloween plans?
Nope.
Me neither.
Gonna work.
Me too.
And come home.
Yeah.
Well, probably stop at Mavericks on the way home,
Yeah.
because it's what I do.
It's on your way home.
That is also true. May pick up a comic or two.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a nice Halloween.
Yeah.
You know, we probably still have some free Halloween comics that we could give away.
Oh, yeah?
Put in your Halloween basket.
I think I grabbed all the ones that I wanted.
Right.
So, we'll talk about that later.
Sure.
Yeah. But for now, we're going to talk about this comic book
Mm-hmm.
that both of us read, hopefully.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so, I don't like it when you pick biographical comics.
All right. What else did I pick? Shackleton?
Yeah.
That was about it, I think.
I'm sure there's like an auto bio or something.
Oh, yeah.
We've
Sure.
read here. But based on true stories, no thank you.
Because they're always so boring. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nothing ever happens. Visually uninteresting.
Mm-hmm.
Not the case in this one.
No, not really. Yeah.
I mean, it is loosely, not loosely, it's based on actual people and
It's based on actual person, for sure.
and perceived events in that person's mind.
Yes, yes. So I would say very, very loosely based on a true story.
Well, no, because when I think loosely based, I'm like, well, some guy did this and they changed the name and the setting and the everything, but
Well, they changed a lot of stuff here, though.
yeah. Right. Some of the characters are made up. Sure.
Well, that too, yeah. But some of the actual facts are not correct in
Right.
this story.
But it's about Sarah Winchester of
Yes, it
the
is.
Winchester Firing Arms Company or whatever it's called.
Gun
Guns.
company.
Yeah.
She is the widow of
William.
William Winchester, who he didn't found the company, did he? Like he's just born into it.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But at least the heir, if not more, to the Winchester Gun Company. And he died in like 1884, something like that, of tuberculosis shortly after Sarah and William's daughter had also died.
Right.
And this all basically culminated in Sarah, putting it mildly, losing her goddamn mind.
Right. Yeah. Well, of course. And she became convinced that evil spirits were, behind the deaths of her family in retribution for all the people that were killed by their guns that they manufactured.
It's not hard to think that.
It's not a bad thought.
No, yeah. Because, that's what guns are for, people. They kill others.
Right.
Or at least expedite the killing of others.
Sure. Yeah.
And so basically, Sarah believes that, the deaths of all these people are basically hung on this one family. And, when her husband dies, she inherits, I think, 50% of the Winchester Company. And a large portion of their fortune. And after struggling with, the grief and the depression, she moves to California, where she begins building a house, that does exist and still exists.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go on a tour of it.
Right? Yeah. I would love to. Actually.
Yeah, I kind of do too. But it's basically just a giant crazy mansion that she just continuously built upon, day in and day out for, I think it was something like 30 years, something like that.
Yeah.
With no plan.
No.
Whatsoever.
Yeah. Like, she would just come up with an idea, like, hey, put a room here, put a stairwell there, or whatever.
And and then, like, stairs that go to nowhere, doors that open to nothing, or sometimes just to the open air, even though it's on, like, the 4th floor.
Sure. Or just to another wall in another quarter.
Exactly, yeah. And, like, some of the specifications were, like, basically, like, hallways would get narrow and narrower till, like, you couldn't fit a person through it anymore.
That's crazy.
She was a crazy lady. And she thought, basically, that, by building this house, it would confuse the spirits from getting to her.
Right. And it would also house a place for the spirits to, like, just live without harming anyone. Or
right,
whatever. Yeah. And, like, the key was, like, the hammers had to never stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like you said, not just 365 days a year, but 24 hours a day.
Yes. So she basically just had, like a rotating crew of construction workers who would just constantly be building stuff and hammering.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is. Sarah Winchester was crazy.
Yeah. But really interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so this story kind of picks up from that.
Yeah.
Where we're like 15 years or so or 10 years at least into the building of the house, at the time the story picks up. And then we're introduced to Sarah and her right-hand man, Mr. Mercer.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Who basically is sort of her caretaker of sorts.
Right.
Like, he just kind of makes sure that the work that she demands be done gets done, and also to
keep her from hurting herself.
Exactly, yeah. And to keep her as close to sanity as he possibly can.
He knows it's not gonna happen, but
right.
He's like, I'm just gonna make sure this runaway train doesn't go off the rails.
Exactly, yes. And then we're also introduced to, Mr. Warren Peck, who is, he's a gunslinger.
Yeah. Gun for hire.
He is. He's an assassin cowboy. And, we see him, we're introduced to him slaughtering a tribe of Indians.
Yeah. And they're like, not attacking anyone or anything.
No.
They're just, chilling, hanging out at home.
Yep.
With their babies.
Yep.
And so you're like, right away, it's not like this character is very likable.
No, not at all. Yeah. So we're introduced to him. Obviously, he feels some sort of guilt over all the blood that he has, spilled.
Mm-hmm.
And, he eventually winds up at the Winchester house. Basically after,
riding his horse.
He's riding his horse. He's trying to recover. He does get stabbed by one of the Indians before he leaves them. So he's just looking for a place to stay, like a night or two to recover. And, Mr. Mercer tells him that, well, if you're staying here, you gotta work.
Right.
And then, a night or two becomes, months, if not years.
As it has for a lot of the workers. Because Mr. Mercer tells them a lot of these people decided just to stay for a night or two.
Yep.
But they find something there because a lot of these people are, like, Warren Peck. Peck, is that his name?
Yep.
There are a lot of people are like him. They're like murderers or like on the run from something.
They've all were in the war, because this is relatively shortly after the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, these are all people who have blood on their hands, and they basically find sort of solace in the work that they're doing, even though they don't understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
But
who amongst us does, really?
Exactly, yeah. But it gives them a sense of purpose, and possibly allows them to pay penance.
Wow.
For their crimes.
In that house.
In that house!
Oh my god, I just got the title. I get it.
But meanwhile, there's also, crazy blood tentacles that are, like, pouring out of, like, every crack and nook and cranny in the house. and threatening to just envelop everybody with its creepy ghoulishness.
I had a house like that on Carlisle once. Yeah, you can't trust those East Dayton basements.
Nope.
No, but yeah, there's like this Cthulhu-esque, like, The Shining style shit going on that you feel like only Sarah and Warren can see.
Right.
Because they've got the most, like, horrendous blood on their hands.
Right.
Possibly.
Even though technically Sarah doesn't.
Well, technically not. She's just been cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her family bloodline has got a lot of, blood in there. But yeah, that stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that, all that stuff, that creepy, weird tentacle blood stuff.
Yep.
It's behind the mirrors, it's under the,
floorboards. Yeah.
And it creeps out, like, and around people. And when you first see it, it's like squirming out of their eyeballs and things like that.
And coming out of their hands and just enveloping them sometimes. Especially if they are, particularly more guilty than others of their crimes.
Right. Oh yeah, but that's one of her rules is to say, I was thinking, one of the rules when those criminals show up there's no violence.
Yes.
You're not allowed to be violent in this house.
Yep.
Because I guess that's a no-no.
Sure.
For these evil spirits.
Well, she's trying to keep them at bay,
right.
and
and they have a bloodlust.
Exactly, yeah. But she also demands that everybody give up their guns, of which she, for the most part, she disposes of all of them. Either throws them down into like a dark pit, or she melts them and turns the steel into tools used to build the house.
Yeah. See, that seems progressive.
Yeah.
Very green.
Yeah. And then, at one point, like, her sister comes by to visit and tries to talk some sense into her. But they clearly
stop wasting all the family money.
Exactly, yeah. But they clearly don't see eye to eye, and the sister thinks that she's just clearly insane.
I think Tomasi does a great job of depicting her as being insane, but in such a way that it's not like a spectacle. It's more it's like a weird mystery. I mean, you're just like watching it happen, and you're a lot of times seeing things from her point of view where no other characters are around.
Right.
And so you kind of like are with her on this like mad journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, she's not running around like pulling her hair out of her head or anything.
Right.
She's just living her life,
and like
just the way that she sees it and feels it. Yeah.
And so like as we're like seeing her point of view, we see all this stuff like actually happening. Like like it's not like she's just making shit up. I mean,
right.
she sees these horrible blood tentacle things everywhere.
Right.
They are coming after her.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it seems real.
Yep. And of course, we cannot go another minute without mentioning the art.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Right?
I mean, there's a lot of times where we, put a lot of heavy praise upon the art, and sometimes even, more so than just the book or the story, know. But holy fuck, Ian Bertram.
Right. He's good.
Dude is amazing.
And it's not just like the actual like illustrations, which are really detailed and amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's my absolute favorite kind of art on this planet because it's a very cartoony style, but it's mixed with like really dark and detailed. And that is my absolute favorite art on this planet Earth. But not only that, but just the choices he makes about like things to show and what not to show and like how to bleed things out of panels. And
right.
It is incredible to look at.
And there are at least 2 of the 6 issues here that have 3 or 4 page spreads, or maybe even more. I think the last one has maybe 6 or 7 pages.
I can't remember. I think at least 5.
Yeah. Where, like, I mean, it's just a regular comic, so you're just turning the pages.
It doesn't fold out or anything.
Right, but, like, you can tell by the way they're set up that they continue on to each other.
Right.
And, I mean, fuck.
Yeah, right? I know, I've never seen it done that way.
I have. I mean, Steranko did it once.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He did everything once.
Well,
if you listen to him talk.
That is also true. But it's not something that is done often.
Right.
And usually not so well.
And it doesn't usually work so
Yeah.
well. I mean, I've seen overlay, pages where you're like, oh, that kind of continues, but it's like, you just keep turning the pages, and it's like, oh my god, this is one giant panel. This shit is still going crazy.
Oh yeah, well, there's an issue of Madman where the entire book is one giant spread.
That's right.
Yeah. So, it's been done.
Yeah.
Whatever. Fuck you, Ian Bertram.
Yeah, learn a new trick or two before you try to impress us. No, it's incredible. It really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I looked him up after I read this, and there was another, like a hardcover book he did called The Bowery Boys.
Yep.
And I ordered a copy for Mavericks, and I was like, maybe I'll read that eventually, and I just stuck it out with the new books, and it was gone, like, that day.
Right.
So I was like, maybe I'll order another one, and I haven't ordered another one yet.
The first time I ever heard of him, he did a fill-in issue of Batman Eternal. Wow. I think it was like number 11.
Oh, I bet that's great.
It looks amazing, and of course, all the Batman fans in the world hated it.
Oh, yeah, they would. Of course they would.
But I saw it, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, who is this guy? And, the only thing that I saw by him was the Bowery Boys, and I wound up buying it digitally. So I actually own a copy of it on my tablet.
I've seen some covers. I think he did the E for Extinction covers, didn't he?
He may have, or I can't remember if that was Chris Burnham or not.
Oh, maybe it was Chris.
Because I know Chris Burnham wrote that book.
Okay. Maybe that was him. Because, they have, his style, it reminds me of like Frank Quietly, Raphael Grandpa, Chris Burnham, I could see that.
Yeah.
Like all that kind of ballpoint swirly pen looking stuff. And
Ramon Villalobos is another guy, I think, who's in that same type of style. So if you hate those guys, then, A, screw off, and B, this is the perfect book for you if you love them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's amazingly beautiful to look at.
Yeah. So, let me know if you ever buy a copy of that Bowery Boys. Maybe I'll pick it at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely order another one since we sold it so quick.
Yeah. But just, and there's like weird panel layouts, but not like super crazy.
Yeah, not like they're trying too hard to make it weird.
Yeah. Like it's all like pretty, simply laid out.
Yeah.
But then he's also like rotating the scene.
I love that.
360 degrees or so.
And I wanted to say something about that too, because I love that he does rotate some panels on the pages, but all the words are still facing the right way.
Thank you.
Yes. Right? There's nothing more annoying than like, okay, I gotta turn the page to read the page.
Yep.
Like, I get what you're doing, people.
Sure, right.
When you switch the art and like the bottom is not the bottom anymore.
Right.
But you don't really need to swivel the dialogue bubbles.
You don't need to.
We
I know that's one of those things you can only do in comics, but just because you can only do in comics, it doesn't mean you should.
You can also burn them.
Yep.
That doesn't mean you should. I have before, but doesn't mean you should. But it's, and of course you got Dave Stewart behind the color wheel, and he doesn't do anything insane. Like he didn't invent any new colors, but he makes the perfect choices as always.
Yeah, he always does. Everything he does always looks gorgeous and right, no matter what he's doing.
Yeah, I have to imagine that he always does like 8 versions of every panel, and then he picks the right one because like there's no way you can just like with your gut make every panel the exact right color the first time you do it.
He's been doing this a long time. I'm sure he can by now.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
It also helps that, he does work a lot primarily on just like horror related stuff and monsters and
Mignola
weird
stuff.
shit.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, like it is this true story if you're familiar, but it does like go in like kind of crazy places where, a lot of it you're not sure what's happening in her mind, what's actually happening.
But then also, yeah, you get the feeling that it's a shared experience between her and Peck.
Yeah.
And
Like
they form like a strong bond together.
That's the part that really, I think, sells it is, because, you could just say like, well, everything crazy is happening in her mind, but then another character shows up and is also experiencing these things.
Right.
And that's, it kind of solidifies or what's the word I'm looking for here?
Viewpoint?
It just establishes that she might not totally be insane.
Right.
Like there might be something going on there that just other people aren't privy to.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just full of amazing art and good characters and just a really unique take on this story. Right. Because I know that there have been like other stories like loosely based off of the Winchester house and other things, but like they're all pretty, generic or, just what you would think would, happen,
I've never read or seen any. I looked them up to see what else there was when I was reading this, and I saw there's a movie starring Helen Mirren that's gonna be coming out.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Maybe it's this, because I noticed, in the copyright of the book, that this is not a creator-owned comic.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not owned by Dark Horse either. It was copyright to Andrew Lawrence Productions, which is a film studio.
Oh, okay.
So
maybe that's
production company.
I would love to see this made into a film. Like I'm not going to spoil the ending, but basically, there's a lot of motifs about, just the violence of our inherited past and like how cyclical it is and how we can't escape the violence or the blood on our hands and air quotes. And I love the way like this thing is tied up.
Yeah.
It's so well done.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that translate to film.
I would as well. Although, I think you would miss a lot of the awesome visuals that the comic provides.
But can you imagine though if they took his visuals as a starting point?
Right.
Kind of like if you watch The Matrix, it's not like reading a Jeff Darrow drawing.
Right.
But you can see some of his stuff. Like you're like, man, that's a lot of wires.
Right.
That's insane. and then you look and you're like, oh, it's based on a Jeff Darrow drawing.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I see it.
Like that kind of thing. Like to see like, because everything is like oozing and dripping and gelatinous in this book. Oh, it's amazing. Like
just crawling.
Yeah.
Just lots of crawling. Yeah.
Squirmy, creepy stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, just the house itself is, I don't want to say it's a character, in the book, because that's all bullshit. But it does.
It's such a great environment.
Yeah, exactly. It lends a lot of the atmosphere to the book too.
It's like it reminds me a lot of like The Shining. If you don't count Alien as a horror movie, which I don't, even though I can see why people do.
I do.
I think The Shining is, like one of the best horror movies, if not the best ever made. And this reminds me a lot of that, like just that creepiness of that house. Even though this is way different because this is really populated. It's not like she's the only one there, but there's workers like everywhere.
40, 50 people, like sometimes in a panel.
Right. Yeah. But it reminds me a lot of the things I like about The Shining.
Right. There is, I guess, never mind. I was going to say there's a plot line that I feel gets introduced, but then almost immediately dropped, where, two guys are maybe plotting to, rob Sarah.
Yeah.
But then, those characters show up again, but, their conversation never really plays into it.
That's true.
But then, spoiler, they both kind of meet untimely ends.
Sure. Yeah.
So you maybe wonder if that was just a result of, what they were talking about,
Yeah, I did feel like yeah.
Especially the one guy, the earlier victim.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's some darkness that happens there. And, I could see that in a movie maybe being stretched out a little bit more.
Probably.
That those characters and that tangent.
Hell, I could see the entire movie being rewritten to focus only on that.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. It's like a heist movie all of a sudden.
But it would be terrible.
Yeah, it would be awful. Yeah. It would be terrible. I'd watch it.
And then ghosts come and get them as they try to crack the safe.
That could be a different kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So, does Peter Tomasi, he doesn't typically write horror stuff, right? It's mostly superhero, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, he's probably best known for a big run on Batman and Robin for a while.
I mean, that's dark, I guess.
Yeah,
But
dark, but, not horror exactly. Yeah, I know I think he was a DC editor for quite a while. Like a lot of superhero books.
That's right. I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I know, he's not necessarily a horror experienced writer anyway.
Yeah. Because I think there was at one point it said, like, other books by, like, he did The Mighty.
Okay.
Light Brigade, that's another one.
I know you liked The Mighty quite a bit when that was coming out.
Is that the same Mighty?
Yeah.
Is that the DC one?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I liked it for a little bit, and then I got really bored with it after, like, 4 issues or something, but... Because I was like, oh, okay, this might be going somewhere unique, but it didn't, so it just kind of spun its wheels.
It didn't last too much long. So.
Right.
But no, I mean, yeah, people have, at least I've heard really good things about his Batman stuff, so, yeah. And apparently, like, he kind of gave a lot of life and likability to the Damian Wayne character while he was writing him. So,
okay. Yeah. So he didn't write the Batman that Bertram drew though, did he?
I don't know, because that whole thing was like 6 Batman writers just working on it, so maybe he was part of that team.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Because, they seem to, like, I would love to see them pair up again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But, like, I'll be 100% honest with you. Like, I bought this book not reading any of, like, what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just saw Ian Bertram's name and said, oh, I'm buying that.
Yeah.
Like, I recognize Peter Tomasi as a reputable writer, and Ian Bertram, okay, done.
I had never heard of Ian Bertram until I picked this up, and the only reason I picked it up is we got a copy of number 1 in that was damaged, and we reported it, because I work at a comic book shop, I don't know if the listener knows that. We reported it as damaged, and they told us to destroy it, and I was like, I flipped through it, I was like, well, I can't destroy this is really pretty. I was like, I'll take it home, and I'll read it.
Right.
And then I read it, and I was like, I need the rest of these. This is amazing.
Awesome. Like I said, because I'd heard of Bertram from that issue of Batman, like, and there was an article about it, I think, because, at the time, the spoiler character, like that was like kind of her first New 52 appearance, sort of, I guess.
Oh, there's a character named Spoiler?
Yes.
Okay.
Who was much beloved amongst, some Batman fans.
And
so, like, it was kind of a big deal, and so, but like, so I read this article about it, and like, they showed like excerpts of the art, and I was like, man, that is so weird looking and awesome. And like, Batman is like this weird, swirly, wriggly wraith-like character throughout it, and I was like, this is amazing. People will hate this.
The wriggly wraith, that'd be a great character.
Yeah, that's a pretty good character. Yeah. He is, I think, a Golden Age character. Yeah. It's public domain. We can do something with him.
Yeah. He's gonna fight the Green Llama.
So I saw that and I was like, oh my god, this guy's amazing, Like I said, I looked him up and saw the Bowery Boys. I was like, well, I'm buying that somehow. Saw it was on Comixology, did that, and so, yeah, when I saw this being, on sale, like on through Diamond or whatever, I was like, well, I'm totally ordering it just for that, and, yeah, it's horror, okay. I like a horror comic, and
you clearly made the right call.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was, because, last episode you said you were gonna pick this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's funny, because there's hardly ever anything that we both are gonna pick,
right.
Like that may have happened before, where
I'm sure it has.
one of us picked something, but...
Or at least something where, like, well, I've thought about reading this, and, hey, well, here's a good excuse
But this was, like, your next in line.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's funny. Because, it just finished, like, a week or two ago.
Yeah, a little while ago, yeah. They have release dates in the back of every issue.
Oh, that's true, they do. Which is very nice. I love that. And there's really cool pinups on the back cover
They're not really pinups. They're just reproductions of the panel from the book.
But like it's without the word balloons, which is awesome.
Yeah. And of course on issue 3 is one of the
like
multi-page spreads that they reproduce entirely on the back.
And that one is amazing. I would buy that poster.
Oh yeah. Like, I gotta wonder, like, will the trade paperbacks have, like, full outs of those pages?
Ooh, that would be tempting.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna buy all the original art from all those.
Well, sure.
That way I can hang them up.
Right,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? But yeah, so issue 6 came out, towards the end of September.
Okay. So, about a month ago.
So, yeah, not too long ago. But yeah, I was definitely gonna pick this for sure. I mean, luckily I didn't have to. But then, unluckily, I had to try to think of something else to pick, which we'll get to later.
Well, all of these issues are out, and there's a trade paperback coming soon, so we highly recommend you check it out.
Absolutely, yeah. And yeah, even if you have even just the slightest bit of interest in, like, the Winchester, legend or whatever, definitely pick it up for that angle, but, it's amazing all on its own, too.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It's like, There's nothing about this book that I'm like, I only wish they did this.
Right.
No, I'm like, this is like a home run.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
House of Penance. Good stuff.
Penance with one end.
Yeah.
Well, two ends, but in different spots.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Take a break?
Yeah.
Okay.
All Hallows Eve is approaching.
Yes, it is. So you said you're not doing anything.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
It's not. Yeah, neither of us know when trick or treat actually is. It may have happened already. I don't know.
Nobody trick or treats at either place we live in.
No, yeah. People may trick or treat where you work.
I think occasionally, yeah. We usually have a little bit of candy for kids and things. But this year we
just more excuse for me to come over.
I don't think we're going to buy any of those this year because we have a lot of Halloween comics left over.
All right.
We're just going to give those out.
That's cool. Yeah, so this weekend was a comic related event.
It was
Halloween Comic Fest, which you guys had a big sale going on, and you also had free comics, much like a free comic book day thing.
Yeah, only less of them.
Well, sure,
and spookier.
Yeah, mostly Halloween related.
Right.
Mostly.
Some were just like horrific. Debaucherous horror like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Or Spidey, number 1.
Yeah, that was.
Or DC Superhero Girls.
That's weird. Yeah.
Well, those are the two that I picked up.
Did they do one of those, like, the storylines fall on Halloween or anything?
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
no. It's just people in costumes.
The demon was in the Supergirl one.
Well,
So
okay, well then maybe that was a thing, sure. But yeah, apparently, not too many people know that this Halloween Comic Fest thing, is a thing that happens.
Yeah. It's bizarre because I remember like 2 years ago it was like insanely busy.
Right.
And then last year it was completely dead because it was on Halloween.
Right.
And this year I was like, well, this should be busy again. It's not on Halloween. It's a couple days before, but it was like busier than a normal Saturday for us.
Right.
But just barely.
Right.
So it's kind of weird.
I mean, of course, that first year you didn't have the second room open, did you?
Right.
Yeah, you just had the regular store open.
Yeah.
And then the previous year and this year you had the annex open where you had a bunch of dollar books and stuff for sale. And guests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One might even call them artists.
Right? Some. But I know, like, my friend in Florida, like, I was talking to her earlier in the day, and she was kind of like, well, I don't know what I'm going to be doing today. And I was like, well, you should go to a comic store and get some free comics. And, cause she knew that I was going to be doing something for Halloween Comic Fest. And she was like, oh, is that everywhere? And I was like, it should be.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's a thing through Diamond and all that. Yeah. And yeah, like, people just don't know that that's a thing. It's not as
well publicized,
marketed as like Free Comic Book Day, but I mean, it's a smaller scale than Free Comic Book Day, but it's still free comics.
All right.
Yeah.
We hung a Post-it note somewhere in the store that said, come by on the 29th.
Sure.
I mean, that's all it said.
Right.
But
I mean, I tweeted about it. I only have 3 followers that follow.
Well, yeah, I mean, we should have had mountains of people then between those 2 outlets. The Post-it note and the 3 followers.
But yeah, so last year we were podcasting last year around this time. I can't remember.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So last year and this year, I was invited to be a part of the festivities of sorts.
Yeah.
And so you guys had a table set up for me, and I was there to sell my wares and do some sketches. And just get our names out there.
Sure,
and
that's how make it happen.
Yeah, exactly, and just revel in the festivities and enjoy the high life of being a comic book guy.
Yeah.
And instead, I just sat around and talked to you, talked to my friend Bruce, who was also set up at a table there.
We all ate some Halloween candy because no kids were showing up.
I think I had a Kit Kat or 2.
Yeah.
I wound up potentially spending like $20 worth of comics.
Oh yeah.
And I had 2 people look at any of my stuff. One of them was a meth addict.
Oh really?
Yes.
Was it a man?
Yes.
Did he possibly want to steal some of it to sell for meth?
No, not that I know of. But oh no, wait, I did have 3 people look.
Yeah.
One was the meth head. He came in on a bike, and he wore a hat and had curly hair. And just in case you recognize that description at all, talked to both me and to Bruce, and loudly, and for longer than either of us wanted.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. And then another, like, kind of a bro-y dude came in and was, like, looking at my stuff, and he saw, like, all the sketch covers that I had. He's like, oh, man, like, where do you get these blank covers? Because, like, I draw too, and I could do this.
He's like, I could do this only better.
Right? Yeah. And then,
You're like, you buy one and I'll tell you.
Right? Yeah. And then some little kid, was, like, looking through some of the sketch cards that I had.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I looked through some of it.
You did, but you don't count.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause you were working.
That's true.
Yeah, it was kind of dead.
I was ostensibly working.
Is it kind of?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really slow.
You were manning the place.
That's true. I was making sure nothing was stolen.
Yes.
I think when my shift over there, I think I sold like $1 worth to you.
Yeah.
$5 worth to Matt Brassfield, and he only had $3 on him, so he owes us $2 more.
Yep.
And forgot about that. And I sold $5.60 worth of stuff to someone, that was actually shopping there.
It was a hat.
It was a hat.
It was a Pokemon hat.
A Pokemon hat.
Yep. Yeah. And, yeah, my friend Bruce was there with me, and, he left, we were scheduled to be there from 2 to 3:30. He left shortly after 3:30, so basically just wasted an hour and a half of his time.
We got to hang out with you.
Well, yeah, we got to talk a little bit. And
That's
then,
cool.
And then I stayed till 5 because I got nothing better to do, and there was always that weird sliver of optimism that for some reason doesn't go away.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it should. Its lesson should be learned by now, right?
It's a dumb sliver of optimism.
And then, yeah, like 5 minutes before we decided to close it up, like, I went dumpster, like, dollar bin diving and pulled out, like, $20 worth of books. Because I didn't make any money. Might as well spend what I have.
You're like, some money's got to change hands here. I haven't found an awesome book.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Night Masters #1.
Yep.
For a mere $1. I'd never seen that before, and it was in our stuff. So. Yeah? It might have been in Seamus's collection.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
No, it wasn't from Seamus, because his stuff was not alphabetized.
No, yeah.
That was, like, actually in order.
It was kind of in order.
Well,
it was mostly in order.
I mean, at one time it was alphabetized.
Yeah. Yeah, so any other developments in the Seamus situation? I don't know if we've talked about it on the show or not.
We've never talked about Seamus, and that's probably for the best.
Right, yeah. But nothing since the last year.
No, this guy, I hope he does great in life. But I just hope he never deals with us again.
Yeah.
So, we bought his collection, and it
was drama afterwards.
It's like a Peter Tomasi and Bertram comic collection. There's so much craziness going on underneath the floorboards.
But yeah, and then, your it's not really a sister store, but it's a neighboring store that has ties to Mavericks. They also had a sale going on. We're also selling some comics.
Yeah. Game swap.
And then there was a costume contest.
Mm-hmm.
I know that during the time that I was there, I only saw 2 people enter.
Mm-hmm. I think we had like 8 total.
Okay.
So yeah, hopefully, we'll have a decision made this week.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't be too hard with that.
8 people, right?
I know the one was your friend Lindsay showed up and was wearing some sort of Victorian, almost Sarah Winchester-esque like costume.
Right? Yeah, I thought so. I thought that too. I was like, that's weird.
And then I don't know if you were there at the time, but a family came in.
Yeah,
with they
all
were
the kids.
Mostly all Batman related,
right?
And one Superman.
Yeah. Yeah, weren't the girls like Batman villains or something?
There was a Batgirl, and then Poison Ivy, There was a kid as the Joker, like a
toddler.
little
kid. Yeah, that's funny.
And I think there was one more other than Superman, but I can't remember what they were. I want to say Harley Quinn, but I really don't want to say Harley Quinn.
All right. Yeah, we had a few Harley Quinns yesterday.
Not surprised.
Yeah. One of them was a dude with a beard.
Well,
so that was
better.
different. That was different.
Yeah. Oh, no, wait. There was a third costume contest entry. Well, that happened while I was there.
Oh.
A guy in a uniform onesie, a unicorn onesie.
Oh, that's right.
And his lady who was dressed as something that I don't know what she was.
I forgot about the unicorn onesie guy.
Yep.
I think maybe on purpose.
Yeah. It's kind of burned into my head a little bit.
I mean, I love the idea of a guy embracing his unicorn onesie love, but when you actually see it implemented, sometimes you're like, I don't want to see that again.
Yeah.
I mean, go for it, dudes.
Sure.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I'm not going to stop your joy, but don't get me involved.
Yeah.
By making me see it.
He made it a little creepy, too.
No, sure.
I mean, just with his actions and his words.
Uh-huh.
Not just, his presence.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, overall, other than, no money or anything like that.
Sure.
I had fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. It was a good time had by all. I bought a bunch of comics that I didn't need, or really even want, but, well, I wanted them, that's why I bought them. But I didn't need them for sure.
No one needs a comic.
Exactly.
Well, that's not true. I need them to survive.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too. I need them to remain some sort of slight semblance of happiness.
Right.
Yeah.
And then after the show, we went and watched the Cubs game.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about that at all. That was just more heartbreaking than anything else that happened.
That was kind of the equivalent of us, like, being mugged and beaten. watching that game.
But on purpose. Like, looking for it.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. It's like we were like, let's walk to the wrong end of town at midnight wearing our jewelry. Okay.
Yeah, that was not fun.
No, it was hard to watch.
After a certain point, it just became unbearable, and yet we made it through to the end.
We did. We watched every second of that game.
Yep. And then as soon as it was over, I put on my shoes and left.
It may have contributed to my worsening depression this morning too. I'm not sure. Yeah. Like I was just in a funk all day today, and I think part of it was that Cubs game.
I could imagine. Yeah. Like, yeah, in the middle of the 7th inning, where I think it got the worst, I just wrote...
Because you hate Vince Vaughn?
Well, sure, there's that too. It was also after the Cleveland scored 6 runs, well, not that many.
I think it was 4 more.
It was 4 more.
Three or 4, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was too many.
It was too many that the Cubs could not conceivably catch up in the last 2 innings. Aside from a miracle, which clearly didn't happen.
No.
But yeah, I just wrote, like, on Facebook and Twitter that this is just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, I follow, comics creator Durf on both formats. And, he is a Cleveland Indian fan, being from the Cleveland area.
Sure.
And he was just kind of being a dick about it, and it just made me mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I want the Indians to lose, but I'm not going to be a dick about how much I want them to lose.
Yeah, like every time I see one of them interviewed post-game, they seem really cool.
Sure.
They're not like, yeah, we're just trouncing this shitberg.
Right.
I mean, they're like, the guy was like, yeah, they're a great club, and, they're bringing their all, and we just, did some right moves tonight. Yeah. Like, they're being really cool.
Right.
And I respect them, but, yeah, you don't have to, like, spit on us.
Exactly. But then on the other hand, I guess it wouldn't be a Cubs World Series if the Cubs didn't show up, and that they did.
Yeah.
So as we record this, game 5 is going to start in a couple minutes.
Possibly the last game of the series.
Could potentially very well be the last game of the series. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
But by the time we record the next episode, we'll know for sure.
Right. There will be a new champion.
Yeah, there will be. Hopefully the Cubs. There's that dumb sliver of optimism that
Yep, there it is again.
still remains inside me.
I'm glad it does. I might watch. I'll watch like the last couple innings or something.
Right. I'll find something else to do and then just periodically check.
I'll just make sure I have alcohol in the fridge
Right,
for when it's over.
But in positive stuff,
No.
the
The rash cleared up?
the rash cleared up, of
Nice,
course. I
nice.
wasn't going to mention that, but that is a positive.
Yeah,
So
I noticed you
well.
weren't scratching that much. I mean,
No, yeah, I mean, there's some residual.
well, there's always a residual.
Yeah. But no, we both do volunteer work at the same place. Where
Satan's Cupcake Factory.
Satan's Cupcake Factory. And on Tuesday, when I volunteer there, we had our Halloween party.
That's cool.
And that was a lot of fun. Even though I had almost zero desire to even go to it at all.
Right?
But I forced myself to, and the good time was had by most.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you do anything crazy?
I did. I got my face painted.
I saw a photo.
Yeah, you did.
It blew my mind. I was like, this guy kind of looks like Eric, but he has face paint on. That's impossible.
Yep. The head cupcake manufacturer insisted that I dress up somewhat, and I'm like, for a guy that likes horror as much as I do, and definitely gets into some of the tropes of Halloween, especially at this time,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to dress up for fucking anybody.
Right?
Like, I dressed up once 2 years ago for my ex-girlfriend, and prior to that, 20 years prior.
Wow. Yeah.
So, it's not a thing I do.
But when you do it, it looks good.
Well, thank you. So she was doing face painting there, or at least she had the tools for face painting, and basically kind of convinced me to do something minimal, and then that something minimal turned into half of my face being painted like a skull.
Right? It looks great.
It looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, that credit all to her on that, because she's really good at doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I got a lot of compliments on it, and every time I did, I said, well, Jesse did it.
Mm-hmm.
And also then, afterwards, I went grocery shopping with, skull face paint.
You should do that like in February.
Right? Right? Yeah, I mean, at least at that point, everyone's like, oh, you're just a little early.
Yeah.
Do it in February. You're just like, what the fuck is that?
They're like, this is scary. You're like, it's almost Valentine's Day.
So went to the grocery store, bought a couple of dollar frozen pizzas and a bottle of pop.
Dressed like Skullman.
Yep.
That's great. You gotta figure, like, in the world of comics, like, after a big superhero fight, like, if some guy gets away from the hero,
Right.
he's gotta, like, go, like, get some groceries, or, like, it's like, I need a steak after that, and like, he's still dressed in his, like, costume. Like,
Right,
that's the kind of stuff I'd love to see. Like, I'm sure maybe in the Tick it's happened,
I'm sure, yeah.
but that would be great just to see something like that.
Yeah.
I watched a horror movie today. I think it's called Night Creatures, which is weird because there's no mention of anything related to night creatures in the film. Like, there's a group of nefarious characters they call the Marsh Phantoms, which I think is a much better title than Night Creatures.
Yeah.
The Marsh Phantoms.
But I agree.
Like, it's more interesting words, but, it was an old Peter Cushing Hammer movie.
Ooh, okay.
And it was really good. But it was funny because it more centralized around Peter Cushing being like a vicar or priest or whatever in this small village, and he was kind of in charge of this like illegal alcohol running like, kind of like a rum runner kind of thing.
Right.
So that was really cool to see that.
Yeah. There's a lot of horror movies out there that, like, there's monsters or whatever about it, but, like, like, when you really, like, look at it, like, well, the plot is actually mostly just about real estate deals gone wrong.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what this was. I mean, like, basically there were some murders in this movie, but there was no, like, night creatures.
Right.
It was just, like, these dudes would ride horses and, like, dress up so the townspeople would stay away from them while they did their nefarious shit.
Right.
And I thought that was great.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Peter Cushing's always great.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And he was particularly good in this because he was like a smiling, happy preacher or whatever for the first few minutes. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, he goes behind the doors and he's like, okay, let's get this rum. You know, I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, he's played his share of good guys enough. You know.
Yeah. Van Helsing.
Van Helsing, of course.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Well, of course.
Right. The archetypal hero of Star Wars.
Yeah. That kindly old, bookstore guy from Top Secret.
Was he in Top Secret?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did not realize that.
And then, my favorite thing that he's ever been in was, there was I think in like the early 70s, a Tales from the Crypt movie.
Oh, wow.
That was an anthology. And, he played a character in that by the name of Arthur Grimsdyke, who was just kind of a lonely, doddery old man who, you know, he made toys for all the neighborhood children, and they all loved him. Except for these two guys who hated his guts for no reason, and basically conspired to kill him. And then he comes back as a vengeful zombie.
I think I have seen that, actually.
It's one of my favorite things that he's ever been in. Mm-hmm. And it's a great movie, like, all around. Like, all the stories are really good in it.
And he's just got such an awesome face, too.
Oh, that too.
Like those cheekbones, and it's great. And he was so young in this movie. He was like, he had like long flowing hair. And
right.
It was awesome.
And he was also once Doctor Who.
Oh, was he really?
Kinda.
Yeah? Huh.
There were 2 or 3 movies, like Doctor Who movies, but not official Doctor Who movies. Like his actual name was Doctor Who, whereas in the show it's just the Doctor.
The Doctor, right.
And it was Dr. Who, not the word spelled out, Doctor Who. But yeah, so yeah, he is kinda technically Doctor Who at one point, but not a real Doctor Who.
But there wasn't like the phone booth and everything.
I think they had the TARDIS, but you know, Daleks were the enemies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But, like, he had a granddaughter, that was his companion, and, like, he had a mustache, which is weird. I haven't watched any horror movies at all. I guess the closest thing I've seen is,
the Cubs game last night.
Well, the Cubs game, of course. That was pretty horrific. I watched Green Room last week.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, I mean, it's labeled as a horror movie. It's very tense. But I would say it's definitely more of a crime thriller type thing. About a punk band who gets locked in a green room at a white supremacist club. And, like, things go horribly wrong.
Right.
And Patrick Stewart is a Nazi.
I always thought he might be.
Well,
he's a white guy with a bald head.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yep. Captain Picard. He's a fascist. It was good. It was really good. Violent, but I don't know that I'd classify it as horror.
Yeah.
And then I watched like 10 minutes of Event Horizon at some point today.
Is that like a sci-fi horror?
Yeah. With Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's okay. Mostly just watching television programs. Can't get enough of Westworld. I think it's fantastic. Ed Brubaker, comic writer, wrote the most recent episode.
Wow. Yeah. I'll have to check those out.
Yeah.
Seems good.
Yeah. Otherwise, I haven't been doing much,
horror related.
Oh. Like, House of Penance is like the closest I've gotten.
We can go smash some pumpkins.
I don't want to listen to them.
Yeah. Not even Siamese Dream? It's good.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I guess we could read another comic, though.
I guess we could.
I mean, it doesn't have to be horror related, but
no,
if you're still in the horror mood,
right? Well, I always am. But I don't know if this is horror related or not.
No.
There is a skull on the cover of sorts.
Is it The Punisher?
It is not.
Is it The Punisher 2099?
Yes. There's an omnibus that collects the first 20 issues.
Oh, God.
We're gonna read those.
Yikes. I could imagine Marvel doing that too. Like, hey, what if we put out an omnibus of Punisher 2099? 99.99, you know. That's how much they would sell it for.
Yeah. Hey, you know, Pat Mills wrote a lot of those.
Yeah.
And then from what I've heard, they're just kind of crazy in that same sort of 2000 AD
Really?
style of what he usually writes.
I wouldn't mind reading it, but I'm sure it's just an awful experience because they have those cardstock covers and there's like those garish ads every 3 pages from the 90s.
Well, that's why we read the omnibus.
That's worth $100. Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. I'll order 2 copies tomorrow. That way we each have our own. Maybe a third because after the listener hears, they'll want to come in and purchase one.
Of course. No, unfortunately, we're not going to be reading those.
It's Ravage 2099.
Yep. Well, I know that for the fact that is one of your favorite comics of all time.
It's true.
It's Stan Lee's best.
Yeah, after Stripperella.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, we're going to read a comic called Space Riders.
Space Riders?
Yep.
Do I know that?
I don't know.
Is it like a really weirdly colored, neon colored thing?
Yes.
Okay, I think I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've never read it though.
Yeah. I don't recall Mavericks ever having any kind of copy of it in the store ever.
We special ordered it for 2 guys.
2 guys,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I thought it looked neat. I met I think it was the artist of it, at, one of the conventions I've been to recently.
Yeah.
So I have the trade.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of got like a weird Jack Kirby neon sci-fi weirdo thing happening.
It looks like LSD Jack Kirby or something.
Yeah. So yeah, Space Riders, sweet, from Black Mask Comics, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. You can find the trade; it's out there.
Yeah. Space Riders.
Space Riders.
It sounds like a 80s arcade machine,
right?
Like, should I play Joust or Space Riders? I've only got 25 cents.
Yeah, you play Space Riders.
Yeah.
Sounds funner.
I always loved Joust.
I don't think I ever played Joust.
You get to ride around in like a ostrich, and you had a jousting mechanism.
Sure.
It was fun. Now that I describe it, like, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Hey, you know, when you really think about all those old games, they're all kind of terrible.
Right?
You know, especially when you just are describing what you do. Like, oh, you run around a maze and eat pellets and avoid ghosts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Oh, I have to climb all these ladders to get to the top?
And there's a monkey up there dropping barrels. Well, okay, that does sound fun.
And hey, I've never been able to get past the first level on any of those games.
Oh. Not even the home version? Because they're easier at home.
Nah. Well, I never really played them at home. Just in arcades. Like GameSwap.
Right? Donkey Kong Jr. is surprisingly difficult. I've tried that one.
They're all hard.
They're all hard, but I can do well. Like on Miss Pac-Man, I can go a ways, and Donkey Kong, I can get a couple boards, but Donkey Kong Jr., I can't even get to like the 4th vine. Like I'm just destroyed instantaneously on that one.
I never beat a video game, until like systems started coming out where you could save the game.
Oh yeah.
You know, cause like back in the day, like you would either just have to play it all the way through or just die repeatedly.
Right? Yeah.
And yeah, I couldn't do that, but like when you finally could be able to save your spot and like walk away and then come back, I was finally able to start like beating games.
That
again.
was kind of a benchmark.
Yeah.
You know, the Art of Atari hardcover came out this week.
Oh yeah.
And there was a deluxe version that we did not order it was a lot more expensive, but it came with like a slipcase and digital downloads of 100 different Atari games.
Wow.
Yeah.
That almost sounds worth it.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. But yeah, the book is amazing. It's got all the like box art and some of the screenshots. I mean, kind of focused on the box art. Well, sure. 'Cause that's where the good art is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's, those old games where you look at the box art and you're thinking, whoa, this is like some amazing, crazy sci-fi thing. And then, like, you play the game and it's like pixels and lines.
Right, yeah, it's like, okay, so this box represents that elaborate spaceship. And that green square is the omniverse devil creature.
Right. There was I think Nintendo is releasing a thing either this month or next month, where it's like a really like mini version of like the original Nintendo system. And it comes with like, I think like 40 games, like already like on it. But it's like, all the old school Nintendo games, Mario Brothers, like all 3 of the first Mario Brothers, and just
nice.
A shit ton more games.
Like Mega Man and whatever. Like Mega Man,
probably.
probably.
I'm sure, yeah. And I'm seriously considering buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard
fun.
much about it since, but like it definitely caught my eye when they announced it.
Yeah, I loved NES. That was such a great system.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna go read a comic that's kind of looks like one of those old Atari covers.
It's like, oh yeah, that's how we start talking about it.
Yeah. And hopefully it won't be as disappointing as those old Atari games.
Well, I hope everyone had a good Halloween.
Yeah. Hope you got lots of treats.
And your tummy isn't too full.
Yeah. Or hope you performed a lot of tricks.
Yes.
Hope you turned to some tricks
for
the sex workers out in the audience.
Yeah. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. I'm going to go ahead and plug a thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Gutter Trash Podcasting Network has a brand new podcast that just started this week.
Speaking of sex workers.
Yep. Our good pal and former Gutter Trash guest, Patrick Kane, has his own podcast now on the Gutter Trash Network.
Nice.
It is called The Kane Train.
I love that name.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's him and his wife just talking about stuff. So check that out, canetrain.guttertrash.net. You can find it on iTunes, Kane Train. Just look for it and listen to it.
And that Kane is Kain.
Yes. And while you're at it, go ahead and listen to all the podcasts on the Gutter Trash Podcasting Network, like ours.
It'll keep you busy for a while.
Yeah, and the Viewmasters. And old episodes of the Stupid 60 podcast, because that doesn't exist anymore.
And the Kane Train.
And the Kane Train. And Savage Fincast. And Weekly Comics Monthly.
Wow. You're like the Randolph Hearst of free podcasts.
Sure. All right. Hopefully one day we'll get bought out by like Howl.fm or something like that.
Sure, I don't even know what that is. Yeah, that'd be great.
Just someone to just take this burden off of my shoulders. It's no burden.
You mean this cash cow?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. You can subscribe to the show from guttertrash.net or from iTunes and leave us a review. Visit guttertrash.net for email information and for other podcasts and websites in the Gutter Trash Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.